Yeah.
Oh.
We did
Looking
it.
like
We're live
you
now.
ordered. Looking
Look at
like you
those
ordered
nipples.
He-Man off of Wish.
Look at those nipples.
The Timu E-Man. The Timu He-Man. Let's
I
do
prefer
this.
Everyone
Skeletor.
thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good
Okay.
coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
The Dorkening and all affiliated shows are not intended for anyone under the age of 18. The following may contain discussions or scenes that have adult situations, graphic violence, nudity, strong sexual content, and graphic language. This show is intended for mature audiences only. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello, everybody, and welcome yet again to the Tomb of the Terrible. Tonight, I am joined by Friday and Ron right underneath us. It's all we get tonight, I'm afraid. Tonight, while we're still trying to use mental floss to get the taste of Manos, the Hands of Fate out of our collective brains, we're going to discuss the 1987 Canadian rocksploitation horror flick, Rock and Roll Nightmare. Ron is also joined by, what was his name again?
This is Junior.
Ah, yes, Junior. Hello, Junior. Did you watch the movie too? No? Consider yourself not one of the blessed, because this is one of the better movies that I foisted upon all of you.
So
No.
you say.
Uh-huh. And what do you have, Friday?
A
A
chicken.
rooster.
A
A
rooster.
rooster? Does rooster
That's a
have
big
said
cock.
name? Okay, now moving on. Now that we've
Mine's
earned our 18 plus.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ron.
Well,
A hot new rock group, their sexy young girlfriends, an out-of-the-way farm. It should have been the week of their dreams. Instead, it became a rock and roll nightmare. Because after a day of making music and making love, this band is starting to break up, one by one, limb by limb. Rock and Roll Nightmare. When the band starts to rock, heads start to roll. And that came from the back of the VHS box copy here. So
that's all speculative, by the way.
all of it is all speculative. I have no idea what that meant. I'm going to move on here. So was this your first time watching this, Friday?
Yes. I didn't
Oh,
know
yeah?
it existed until y'all told me.
Okay. And was this your first time, Ron?
Ditto what Jenny said. Same for me. Also, yes, and I also did not know it existed until you told me.
I seem to have that effect a lot. And
You're old.
I am very old.
You've seen lots
So-
of movies.
I mean, I heard somebody explain that 50 is like the freshman of old people. It's like
I
the
like that.
beginning where there should have been like an orientation where we just gather and, okay, here are the things to expect, and you'll get the hang of this, but you're the first year, just the freshman students of the old people.
So what does that make me? Sophomore of the old people?
How old are you?
52.
52. You're still freshman.
Okay.
I think it leads into anyway, that we're stalling, but that's all on me.
You
So
think? I won't be held responsible.
Yeah.
We'll blame Delphine because she's not here.
Right. So I first learned about this movie by way of badmovies.org. Great site, by the way. By reading the review, I knew I had to find and watch the movie. I was not disappointed. I've seen it, as I mentioned earlier, 12 times already. Friday, what was your first impression of it after you watched it or during of watching?
My first impression up until I got the end was, yeah, this is about your normal rock movie, what I'd expect from a rock movie.
Okay. We'll get to that ending, I'm sure. But Ron, what was your first impressions?
My first impression was that it was going to be somewhat similar to like an Amityville horror style movie where you get a bunch of people staying in a haunted house, and then of course they find out about the dark history of the house and so on and so forth, and people keep dying, and then of course they throw in a twist ending, which I'm sure that we will get to, and it turned out that it wasn't really that at all. And as I continued watching, I realized that this was basically just an ego movie for the creator, this Thor guy, I don't remember his name, to flaunt his talents so he could get his music out there and show off his body and basically be the hero of his own movie.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with, you would get that sense, especially with the opening scene where the family is just, about to have breakfast and the mom is eaten by the demon-possessed stove. Dwayne Johnson, it would be... we should look into that, actually. But anyway, it's given by the beginning scene. You would think it would be just that, but no. As Ron said, it's a bit different. It's gloriously different.
If I could respond to what Delphine just said, we could get Dwayne Johnson and Dave Grohl, and then it could be Rock and Grohl Nightmare. Carry on.
I'm speechless. Why didn't I think of this? Good grief. That's like printing money right there.
You're welcome.
But some of the notes here. This originally was under the title The Edge of Hell, which, they changed it to Rock and Roll Nightmare to get, wider distribution on video, but they left the original title in, which is why it says The Edge of Hell with the title sequence. And that originally was confusing because anybody clicking it on like, say, YouTube, where you can stream it, they'll think, did I click on the wrong thing? Did they upload the wrong movie? But no, if you see that, you're in the right movie. Now, Thor, John Michael Thor, he spells it Mikl. The man, the myth, the legend, the coiffed demigod with pecs of melons and knees of fringe. He's a bodybuilder turned metal singer for the Canadian low-rent Manowar band Thor, whose stick is bending steel bars and various other feats of strength on stage in a loincloth. So inevitably he got into acting, and this movie is not his first film credit, believe it or not. Now, I do need to point out that the film came in about 10 minutes short of the required running time. So they shot the extended driving sequence to the farm to pad it out at the beginning. So yes, this is another movie where we get a pointless and drawn out driving sequence, just like last week. Now, this movie was shot in just 7 days, and it feels like it.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, howdy. So, first big question. What did we like about this movie? We'll start with you, Friday.
The music wasn't awful. The farmhouse would be fun to stay at. It wasn't the worst movie I've seen horror-wise. The creatures, some of them were cute. I really like how cute some of them were. Some of them looked like certain appendages with arms and legs. And
Are we talking about the thumb-looking things with googly eyes? Here we are.
There we go. There we go.
I like the fact that they used actual. They made creatures for it. That was cool. I really liked that.
All right.
Trying to make it sensical. Not sure. Anyway, to you.
You're doing fine. I mean, I'm pretty sure the evil little demons don't mind being called cute or anything, but they were rather adorable. They reminded me of like the evil minions from Despicable Me. I don't know why, but Ron, what did you like about the movie?
I did like the music. I think that it had a really good soundtrack for Triton, I think was the name of the band, or the Tritons, since his name in the movie was John Triton. I did actually like the music. I thought how they had set up the recording studio in the barn, and when they did the rehearsal in their recording studio, they did it as if they were playing to a live audience. And from playing music, I know that that is kind of one thing that you want to do, is to try to get into the mindset of playing an actual live show. Is, want to try to play it as close as you would as if you were playing it live. So the fact that they were all dressed up in their costumes, even though there was really no audience there other than just their girlfriends, you could say that that's basically playing the fan service, make it look good on video. But some bands actually do that when they rehearse, to make it as close to doing a live show as possible. So I get that. So I thought that, that was probably about the most realistic thing in the movie, and everything else sort of went downhill from there. To be honest, the whole concept of the movie is not bad. I thought that it had potential, that it had some promise. It just needed to be developed a little bit more. And if they actually had the budget to throw at this movie and do it the way that it should be done, I think that this has the capability of being an actually pretty decent movie. But it was very low budget. They spent it all on the creature effects, I would imagine. And I was about to say some of the things that I didn't like, but I guess we'll get to that.
Yeah. Now, what I liked about the movie, I really, really love most of everything about this. It's the really, really bad acting, the slapdash script, the demons that look like hand puppets. Okay, we're going to have to spoil the ending just to talk about this, but the final showdown, where it's revealed that all the people except for Thor, or John Triton, the character's name, they were all kind of like made up shadows to lure out the demons and fight.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll get to that and talk about that more in depth.
Oh yeah. It's what was that, Friday?
Which is better, this or the Scooby-Doo Kiss movie?
I haven't
Scooby-Doo just because it's Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, I mean, you got the classic right there. Mm-hmm. But essentially at the end of this movie, it's revealed that John Triton, the character of John Triton, is really an archangel set to bring out the evil demon that was haunting this farmhouse slash barn slash, piece of farming real estate outside of Toronto into a showdown. I got to be honest. The first time I watched this, I went, I did not see that coming. This is just bizarre. Let's see how smart my second recommendation.
How smart the YouTube algorithm is. My second recommendation video after this video was Bubbles from the Canadian show Trailer Park Boys playing guitar with Rush.
Because of course.
I have never seen Trailer Park Boys, so I don't know anything about that.
Well, it's Canadian, so there's the tie-in.
Oh, okay.
I prefer April Wine. Thank you very much. In Anvil, but yeah, it's he turns into an archangel where basically he looks like a coked out CC DeVille and wearing these spiked leather Speedos and a cape, sparkly cape.
No, man, it's like get if you order He-Man from Wish.
Let's take a look at that pic, shall we?
That's you, Jenny. Oh yeah,
she knows.
I was trying to find it.
Yeah.
There we go. That's big sexy there. There.
I looked exactly like that at the gym earlier today, just minus the hair.
Okay.
But that's me without a shirt right there.
You were wearing the Speedos too?
You got it. Just
where
under
do you
my sweatpants.
Okay, where see I would have been just wearing those bad boys. I'd be all
they
proud.
They frown on that at the gym. Otherwise, I'd go for it.
I can't seem to find a pair in my size though. Where do you go?
Omar the tent maker? I don't know.
Well, they're a bit snug around the crotch area, but
damn Ron.
I wear them making bacon all the time.
There you go.
Oh, here we go.
It kind of looks like David Bowie from Labyrinth there with, just more.
So like archangels wear mascara?
Why
That's
not?
just it kind of looks like he's going to grab a guitar and just start wailing on like a Dio song or something. It's like Holy Diver.
Right.
I mean, maybe a more high-pitched register. I don't know. But they were clearly throwing rubber starfish demons at Thor, and he was catching them and doing a really bad job at pretending they were stuck to him. And I'm a fierce angel during the transformation scene and the studded Speedo. This is just amazeballs. So, what didn't we like about this movie, though? Friday, if anything.
The ending.
Right?
Okay. Now, are you talking about the showdown or? Okay.
No, from the point he walks in and he starts talking about them being dead as the girlfriend, and then the fight. It's like they weren't. I'm like, really? Where do you get the idea to explain? How do you explain the ending with what he says before the showdown?
Well,
Paula and I could not get that.
Well, clearly he was posing as a human and, made those shadows of the people that were supposed to be his band. I'm wondering if the groupies that showed up and then came in and then were never seen again were just demon chow. That's the part that kind of, I still kind of question. But
I don't think they were important. I think that they
chow.
were all just more figments of his imagination and distractions for the demon.
Perhaps. But
I don't think they were ever really there either.
I don't think a lot of the actors were really there during the time. But
Their acting talent certainly wasn't.
yeah. But so, Ron, what didn't you like about this movie?
It started out with the Amityville style concept, and I was okay with that. And everything was going good up until the ending. I was completely on board with it all until they threw in that twist. And once they threw in the twist, it completely threw everything else off that had happened in the movie. I would much prefer them to have a more legitimate or logical explanation, because if uh, John Triton or Archangel dude says they were all figments of my imagination, they were never really here, they were only meant to distract you, then how does that explain the beginning of the movie with the family sitting down for breakfast and the lady getting eaten by the possessed oven? Did he create them too? Because they said this house has been sitting empty for 10 years, basically meaning that nobody has lived in it since that family got eaten by the demons or possessed or whatever. Nobody's lived there. So how does that really explain that, which did not really make sense? Okay, I can understand if Triton is saying, they were all figments of my imagination to try to draw you out so that we could have this totally epic battle, and the bandmates were never really there to begin with. That's fine. I could understand that if you had clipped off the beginning of the movie and just left everything else. That's cool. I get it. Now, my takeaway from this movie is that they do a shot at the end where he's standing in front of some gravestones, which led me to believe that all of his friends and bandmates and everything was already dead before the start of this movie. And Triton, he says, I'm the intercessor. And I had never heard this term before, so I had to look it up, which is somebody who intercedes on your behalf, usually through prayer, which gave it kind of a sublime Christian slant to it, which I hadn't thought was there to begin with. They weren't very overt about it, which I thought was okay, which was cool. I don't know if Tritons was supposed to be a Christian band or not, but so my guess is that all of his friends were dead, and he took on the mantle of the intercessor to fight the demon because they had all succumbed to the demon before all of this had happened. So it was just very not illogical, but dislogical. And I think that it could have been written or handled a little bit better so that storyline had been seeded throughout the movie to lead up to it and say, oh, well, there were clues, there were hints all the way through the movie if you just pieced them together, and then it would make sense. But they didn't really do that, which is, I thought, the writing could have been better. So, but the movie itself was still a pretty decent concept, and I even like that concept with the intercessor, interceding on behalf of the people that had died to fight this demon. I think that's a cool idea. I really do. I think that's a cool concept, which is why I think that this movie has potential if they were to rewrite it and focus on that bit more than anything else, and put the movie back together, and then of course make it more high budget. Another thing I didn't like about it was just the groupie showing up at 3:00 in the freaking morning. They're like high school girls or college girls. Why the hell are they out at 3:00 in the morning going to some random farm just because they think some band may or may not be there? That doesn't happen. That shit don't happen. That would not happen. Not even for the 80s.
To be fair, what else are you going to do in Canada?
I don't know. Play a late night game of curling. Who knows? Go to
Tim Hortons.
Your Canadian bacon and your poutine and
is Tim Hortons still open 24/7?
I don't know.
I don't know, but
not here.
since you brought it up, though, yeah, it's a couple things kind of sprung to mind. First, I'm wondering when they were hammering out the logistics of the movie, like the script, like the director was just, okay, I had one thing, and then Thor came in and said, when am I going to oil up and
Show my
strut
ass.
around in the, yeah, strut around in the Speedo? And they'll just kind of, no. And Thor went, yes, please. And then that would explain the end of the movie, really. But I'm thinking, since you brought up the whole Christian band aspect, whether or not they were, the point is we should remake this with Stryper. Like the members of Stryper, they come in and,
Yeah.
you know, like the original artwork for To Hell with the Devil, where they were depicted as angels throwing Satan into the pit of hell. They can also, like, you know, hey, we're a band, lure out Satan, then suddenly, boom, angel wings. They're from the recreate that whole album cover. It'd be great.
Yeah, I could get that, and this is why I think that this was a total ego movie for John Michael Thor, just for him to show off his pecs and his abs and his little tushy in the shower scene, and you know, to play his music. Because notice when he finally does strip down to the whole spiked fuzzy Speedo thing and playing, you know, Wish Shop He-Man, that the rest of the cast has already gone at that point.
They don't want to see his
You know,
ass.
it was like, that's what you want to do? Okay, fine. You know, you do that, but we're out. You know, and
Yeah.
he's like, well, I'm the one foot in the bill for this movie, so I can pretty much do whatever I want, because he's listed as the executive producer.
Yeah. But what I didn't like about this movie, and there are things that I didn't really like about this movie, like after last week, we really could have done without an opening extended driving sequence. But like I said, without it, there wouldn't have been, it wouldn't have been made it to the actual runtime they needed for you know, a regular movie release, even a B movie release,
Maybe that's what Prey needed, an extended driving sequence.
or not being made. But
Right.
But there is a lot of missing ADR that could have benefited the film. Like there were points where, like, missing sound effects, especially with Thor's transformation sequence, it just seemed a bit quiet on his end. There we go. It's very cold in that barn, I'm thinking. But I'm not a fan of the gratuitous nudity and awkward sex scenes. I could have done without seeing Thor's butt in the shower like that. I'm fine with the Speedo. Everything's are covered up a bit, but, you know, not a fan. And there's the evil entity that they were fighting. Yay.
So, I mean, I know Raz explained before that that's kind of what TNA or you know, B movie meant was, what was it? Boobs, butts, and blood. That's what the B stood for in B movie. So,
Yeah.
and then it was the 80s. You had to have your gratuitous nudity in order for it to even be marketable, and you know, you have to make your quota of TNA shots just so people would actually watch your movie. So,
Yeah, I understand that.
in my
However,
opinion, there wasn't enough. I think it could have done with more.
yeah, we're going to have to agree to disagree on that. But I'm still kind of confused about the ending shots, not the showdown. Love the showdown, but where he visits a graveyard and then there's a pull away shot and from suburban. I guess they were in suburbia, Toronto. Like they're at a house in suburbia now. I don't know why.
I was kind of under the impression that that's actually like the location where this all played out, and the entire movie is what John concocted in his head for the battle with the demon.
Well, another speculation I have is perhaps the last part of the movie was the result of carbon monoxide poisoning. Everybody's dying from it, and this is the This is the hallucination sequence that they're all going through while they slowly die, which would explain a lot. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to get to the ratings and recommendations and everything else. But first, I wanted to go ahead and pay some bills. It's going to be a bit of a shorter, less than an hour show, but, a bit tighter, more intimate. But let's go ahead and run the ads here. We'll be right back.
Greetings and shabebans. We are the Retro Reductopus Cephala Podcast, a long-form bi-weekly show that celebrates all the things that made growing up awesome.
Well, that sounds good, but I don't know what all those words mean.
I think what Parasite Steve's trying to say is that on Retro Reductopus, we explore a range of retro goodness, from toys, video games, and movies, to cartoons, and even snacks and school lunches.
Oh.
And we do it all with a positive spin, a slew of killer guests, and some very adult language.
And you know what else is cool?
No.
This crazy show is part of the Your King Podcast Network with new episodes every Tentacle Tuesday.
What's that?
And if waiting 2 weeks for a new episode gives you a sad, know that we drop bonus episodes all the time, like the off-format Crow's Nest and an interview series we call The Brig.
You can listen to Retro Reductopus on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or any app that's cool enough to carry the only show that celebrates all the things that make growing up awesome.
Hey, welcome back. Aren't those all lovely, lovely things that you just saw? I think so. But hey, Owlite Menagerie. Go buy a copy if you haven't. Features stories and poems from everybody here that you see here and others. And all the proceeds go to help fight illiteracy. It's the right thing to do and a tasty way to do it. Now, moving along. The ratings and recommendations. We're going to start with Friday. What do you rate this? Would you recommend it to other people?
I've already recommended it to people because you can find the link in the Tomb of the Terrible group.
That you
And I've just uploaded the first episode in the Tomb of the Terrible group so you can see how it all began with the moose. And four. Four's good.
Okay. All right. So, Ron, what do you rate this? And would you recommend it for other people?
It would really depend on who the other people are. If they are fans of 1980s thrash metal and they will sink their teeth into pretty much anything that has to do with that genre, then I would say this would most likely be a safe bet for someone like them to watch. If they're not particularly a fan of thrash metal, there are better horror movies to watch than this one. So I probably would not waste their time with this. I think that, something could have been done to give this movie some redeeming qualities, and which would make me recommend it to somebody, but they just aren't there. So it would only have an appeal to a limited audience. And because of that, I can't say that I would widely recommend it, but I know maybe one or two people that I could recommend it to that would probably watch it, and they might find it interesting whether or not they like the movie or not. As far as a rating, I'm kind of with Jenny on this. I think a 4 is a pretty fair number. It still does not exceed House of the Dead for me, which it still sits at a 5. I'm still waiting for us to get a movie that actually beats that. So this one's not quite there. All of the kills happen off scene. You never actually get to see them. There's not a lot of real gory blood and guts. They saved a bunch of budget on that. If they had put the kills on screen so you actually get to see the stuff, then I would say that would be enough for me to recommend it to somebody. If you like blood and guts and horror, then maybe check out this movie, but it's not there. So if there were more TNA in it, then yeah, maybe I would recommend it, but there's not even enough of that. So there's just no redeeming quality for me to want to recommend it to somebody.
Ron, sweetie, going to have to take umbrage with what you just said, because one, this wasn't thrash metal. It wasn't thrash metal. This was heavy metal with a little bit of AOR hair metal thrown in. Thrash metal is something different. If you wanted rock exploitation with thrash metal, you would watch Deathgasm. Fantastic movie. Now, as for me, the rating I'm going to give is 7 out of 10. Clay demon starfish things. This movie makes me smile. It's cheesy. It's unintentionally hilarious. Thor is clearly the Canadian Man-O-War knockoff, and I can't help but love him in this movie. And I would recommend this. I would recommend the heck out of this. I don't care who you are, especially if you love rocksploitation movies like I do, just like this, especially 80s era rocksploitation horror movies. But I do recommend anybody else seeking out the Riff Tracks edition of this. It's well worth the price. Very much so.
That I would probably watch, the Riff Tracks version of it. That I might recommend, but the movie by itself, not so much.
So we are now at the point where we're taking a look at some of the 5-star reviews on Amazon. Are we ready?
The best
Go
part,
ahead, Jenny.
one thing. The best part about all of this, watching these movies, is just be able to have these conversations with UncleNecRo, Raz, and Ron. I look forward to them, and I look forward to the Dell. Just the conversations about this. And being able to watch horrible movies with my husband so we can come do this together with them.
What about
great marriage?
What about Dell and Pyle?
Dell and Pyle I get to have all the time. So Dell and Pyle, I get to talk to Dell a lot. I don't get to talk to you guys as often as I get to talk to Dell, and I get to talk to Pyle. And getting to do this with Dell and Pyle is also amazing. I get to talk to them more often than I do these guys.
Yeah.
At some point, I hope to talk to you guys more.
Make me blush.
Oh, thank you, Friday. Now, moving on, 5-star reviews. We have the first one from Michael Paul, and he goes, cool. All right for most horror fans. Short, sweet, to the point. Next one is Stay for the Climax. This movie starts off slow and cliched, but ends in pure entertainment. Highly recommended.
That's fair.
Yeah. This one is too much 80s heavy metal wet dream. This is the one that is all typed out in all caps. So, I met this guy, a.k.a. Thor, at February's in Elmont, New York in the 80s as a kid, and he was as gorgeous as he looks in this picture. Not the greatest singer, but he and the band had almost Ringling Brothers act along with the ditzy chicks that came with them. Saw the way he looks now, almost fell out of my recliner. The plot was great for a low-budget film, great 80s schlock rock.
There you go. But that says it all.
That was a gratuitous overuse of exclamation points. So, and then the last one, we'll do these two here. One, You'll Never Forget It. This is one of the best B movies you'll ever watch. I haven't seen it in more than 10 years, and I still remembered it. I call that one special cheesy movie. And then finally, awesome flick. Excellent. Up there with Terror on Tour and Rocktober Blood. Gore galore with some giggles thrown in. Awesome flick. I tend to agree, except for the obviously over-hyper guy. Anyway, so are we ready for the wheel? Yes, the wheel. The wheels of the tune goes round and round, round and round.
There we go.
Round and round. Here we go.
Can you guys see it?
Do 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 do.
Here we
I
go.
can see it. Do 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 do. Do 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 do.
Wow, it actually spins better when there's less of us.
Yeah. And we got
Evidence
Evidence of a Haunting.
Evidence of a haunting.
I can't say I've seen that one.
I can't say I've ever heard of it.
Okay. Let me grab my phone. We'll see if we can bring up a synopsis.
And find out what it's streaming on.
In case anybody's wondering, it's cherry flavored Dum Dum. So here we go. Evidence of a Haunting. Let's see. It's not showing where to watch it, which is never a good sign. But while shooting their reality TV show, a team of ghost hunters get into the fight. Wow. I think I have seen this. I just have blanked it out of my head. So I'm going to see if it's still in my movie database here. And
what year was it?
That was go back 2010. Yeah, 2010.
Okay.
So, in any case, so next week we're taking a look at Evidence of a Haunting, and where can we find you, Friday?
Oh, I'm hiding here. I'm hiding with the fairies at Fakor. And I may be in a blue box hiding in the library there all at the same time.
Okay. All right. Ron, where can we find you?
You can find me on my author page on Facebook, Ronald W Gillespie Jr. -author. Go buy my book. It's been out since February, and sales have kind of slacked off a bit, as one would expect. So, I just need to start pumping it more and get more people to read it. It's good. I like it. It has good stories in it, and you should read them because it come from my twisted mind. And if you can't find me there, then you can also find me on TikTok under @WolfDojo. I am a martial artist by trade, by hobby, just by lifestyle choice. And sometimes I make martial arts content for TikTok. So if that's your bag, then check it out and let me know what you think. And otherwise, you can talk to Friday and she'll send me all of your lascivious, lewd, raunchy, perverted, demented messages that will keep me up at night.
So here's a thought about, a bit more exposure for your book, to advertise for your book. Stage, what we do is after watching this movie, we get you into a leather thong studded and a cape, and have you fight a giant demon puppet.
Can Raz be the demon puppet? That would be fun.
Yes. Yes, he can.
We'll set it up at Hell's Dungeon.
Yes. In
That's
front
what
of
I was
everybody.
thinking.
But where do I find a studded leather thong?
I'll send you a link later.
She will too.
I'm sure.
So you can
I am in my stocking for Christmas and like, where the hell did this come from?
Ho ho ho.
Yo.
I'll even make
Oh. So
right.
So I am your humble servant, UncleNecRo. You can find me on a few blogs on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and a couple other podcasts talking about either movies or music or whatnot and have you. And yeah, so until next time, stay new to your friends and seek help.
I need the blonde rocker wig.
Cocaine. Lots of cocaine.